The first thing is a little bit. It's only a context about ChEBI. Well,
Yeah,
as
sí.
as
Ujú.
as you know, well, ChEBI is both. It's a database, it's an ontology as well. ChEBI is focused on small compounds, and the ChEBI ontology it's used by several biomedical ontologies, such as ChEMINV, also the gene ontology, and so on and so forth. So the idea is that we need to maintain this ontology in a good way. I mean, we need to validate the data. For that reason, we have a team of curators that manually they annotate every day, and they fix the errors in the database daily. Uh, in this moment, ChEBI contains around 160K of entries. Um, I cannot see my my slide. Sorry. Could you please back to the yes, that one? Yeah, and we have 60K of compounds that was manually curated. Well, this talk is about ChEBI as an ontology. So yeah, the next one, please. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Philip. Yes, well, this is like an overview of the current ontologies generation process. So in this moment, we have an Oracle database. In that database, we have all the information about chemical data and the compounds itself. Also, we have an application programmed using Java 8 and Jakarta struts. It's a legacy version of a Java framework. So yeah, I mean, we have a monolithic application with all the submodules inside that application. We have the business logic, the front end, the ontology generation process, and also the automation scripts, all in a single place. So as you can imagine, this is horrible and is not it's not the best approach in terms of maintainability. So one of the tasks that we developed in the new ChEBI ontology is basically recreate the full ontology generation process, and in some way decouple all these submodules in separated components. Um, we have some uh, obviously some cons using the current approach. That is basically, as I mentioned, we have all these submodels together. Uh, Also, we don't have a clear quality assurance process to validate ontology. Um, yeah, we don't have a clear quality assurance, basically. So our idea is that in this new ontology generations process, we are going to have a very, we need to implement in some way this validation process in the ontology itself. Um, well, could you please go to the next one?
Yeah, this
Uh,
one.
yeah, that one. Thank you. Yeah. So before starting with the development of the new ontologies generation process, I had to realize uh, which are which is the current status for the ontology. So I am using a robot, that is a tool, this famous tool to create and maintain ontologies. So robot provide this robot report functionality. So I get some numbers basically, and I get some errors as well. So our first um, it's like in this process, our main goal was resolve the critical errors. We know that we have, for example, warnings and other kind of errors like info as well, but for this redevelopment, we decide to focus on the critical errors in the first place. We check in the report and we realize that we have, I mean, that the errors were related with metadata information and some duplicated, some duplication in the definition, in some components definitions. I mean, so once we realized about this, we started with the redevelopment. That is the next slide. Before that one, yeah. So yeah, well, this is again an overview of the ChEBI ontology 2.0 generation process. The first difference here is that we are using a PostgreSQL database instead of an Oracle database. That is because our idea is to start to use open source tools. So for that reason, we decided to use PostgreSQL. Basically, we migrate all the data from Oracle to Postgres, and in that process, we reduce the complexity of the schema itself. So in this moment, we are working in some data validation as well. But I mean, in this moment, we have all the data migrated from Oracle to PostgreSQL, and it's PostgreSQL our source of truth in this moment. So once we finished to migrate all the data, we started to work in a kind of ETL to generate the new ChEBI ontology. So we are using Luigi, that is a very cool framework to create ETLs. And we are using Python 3.11, that is one of the last version of Python. And basically, we have three steps in this new ETL. We have one step that basically extract all the information from the PostgreSQL and create 6 TSV files. These TSV files have all the information to generate the ChEBI ontology, but it's not in the correct way. It's not assembled in the current way. So in the second step, we create 3 robot templates. So we are using robot templates to create the ChEBI ontology. So basically, we have 3 robot templates because we have 3 different variants in the ontology. We have the ChEBI Lite, the ChEBI Core, and ChEBI, the full one. I mean, so we have 3 different robot templates, one by each variant. Once we have these robot templates, the last step of the ETL has all the necessary robot commands to create the ChEBI ontology. So we are creating in the first place the ChEBI all files, and based on the ChEBI all files, we create the ChEBI OBO files and the ChEBI JSON files. That this is new. This is a new format. Is not present in the ChEBI 1.0, but is present in the new version. And one difference that it's important to mention is that we are creating the ontology for this version, for the ChEBI.0, based on the old files. So we are creating in the first place the old files, and based on the old files, we create the other ones. Previously, we created the OBO files in the first place. So maybe I think it's a good approach because you know that RDF, all and these other serializations formats are like the new standard in the semantic web. So yeah, and okay, thank you. And this is the results. So once we finish the new ontology generations process, we execute again the robot report, and we realize that using our new approach, we don't have critical errors using the new data pipeline. So that's great, but also we need to fix the warnings and the info errors. But even the warnings and the info errors, uh, reduced. I mean, it's yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's only to show the numbers here. Yeah, well, this is other important things to mention, that we have beta releases in this moment. So you guys can download the KB.O and play with the ontology in this moment. Um, we implemented, using GitLab CI/CD, we implemented our beta releases. Uh, so in this moment it's available and it's published in the EBI FTP server. Well, this is something that we need to discuss with the team, because maybe the FTP server is not available in some moments. I mean, the full year maybe. So perhaps we are going to move these files to the repository itself, but it's something that is we are discussing in the team in this moment. But yeah, I mean, it's available. And finally, some content enhancements. The first enhancement is related with the XML data types. In the first version of the ChEBI ontology, all the data was modeled as a string, which is not correct. So in the new ChEBI ontology, in the ChEBI ontology 2.0, we are using XML data types to enrich the ontology, using integers for charge and decimal for mass and monoisotopic mass. Other enhancement is that we are using the raw vocabulary instead of our own heavy relations. So we are using raw because it's like a generic vocabulary. So it's always great to have this new ontology and well-known vocabularies in our ontology as well, in the Kevi ontology. So Charles Tapley, I think he's here in the meeting. He was helping us with that functionality as well. So yeah, thanks Charles and the other people in the OVO community, like Chris Mungal as well. Uh, yeah, the next slide is well, is the future plans. Basically, our idea is to use generic vocabularies for our annotation properties as well. So maybe using raw or Wikidata or other kind of vocabulary. But we need to fix some data in ChEBI before using these vocabularies. So we need to work on that. We need to implement all the ChEBI names and synonyms completely using UTF-8. Well,
Sorry.
okay, okay, no problem. So in this moment, we have in the KV.O ontology, we have all the alpha, beta, these Greek characters in the ontology, and we also have other UTF-8 characters as part of the compounds names. But we need to implement the full characters, because, for example, for super index or subindex, that is not implemented yet. So our idea is to have all the KB names and synonyms completely using UTF-8. Also, use language annotation for some synonyms. This could be done very straightforward using a robot as well. Also generate different pools URLs for each variant and format. Obviously, as I mentioned, review the warnings and also the info errors provided by the robot report and try to fix them. Yeah, I mean, other aspects related with the data itself. But yeah, more than that, this has been our work so far in the new KV 2.0 ontology. And obviously, this is only like one part of the full redevelopment on ChEBI that includes the ChEBI website, the APIs, Dockerize all the application, use Kubernetes, these other software engineer things. One big task is the redevelopment of the ChEBI ontology as well. So yeah, that's all from my side. This is the team.
Thank you.